Ladies and jellyfish, shalom, and welcome to a very romantic edition of A.S.K. Today we'll be going over Ben's many love interests throughout the franchise and ranking them from worst to best. Now, Ben 10's a pretty powerful guy, not to mention
handsome and smart and talented and charming, let's not forget that.
Yeah, all that. It's no wonder a lot of ladies fall for him throughout his butt-kicking journey. From his first girlfriend Julie, to Esther, Eunice, and eventually his wife Kai, we get a lot of choices to go through for Ben, so let's kick it off with the worst. Princess Luma was forcefully married to Ben by the Omniverse writers to create a false sense of competition in the main four that basically competed for Ben through our Omniverse. Not much for me to really say about her because she was incredibly annoying to watch, and despite having some nice fight scenes and funny jokes from Kevin, Luma's relationship with Ben was pretty much non-existent. Atea and Ben only really get relationship vibes in a few Omniverse episodes, and honestly, I don't really feel it with this one. Like Luma, Atea was kind of a one-off girlfriend for Ben, that was never really a girlfriend to begin with. She really began with Ben in the Frogs of War shebang, when we were introduced to Bullfrag, whose only real power is sweet, sweet frog seduction, which was actually written pretty hilariously. I enjoyed it a lot. Atea is funny when she's completely frazzled at Bullfrag, but other than that, as far as girlfriends go, she's pretty low level. Listen, I ain't gonna lie, I remember the absolute least about Elena compared to every other girl here. It's not because I didn't watch the episodes, because I did, but her character is just so damn bland, and the entire concept feels straight out of a Spidey comic or something. Ooh, Doc Ock's daughter is this nuanced sort of scientist girl with big aspirations, who's sort of evil or something. Yeah, it doesn't really sound much like Ben 10, and for sure came off as cliche and unnatural, to be frank. Elena's flirting and sort of manipulation of Ben was more expanded on in some Ultimate episodes, which is probably one of the better and more complex parts of her character, but Elena comes off as basic and cliche for the most part, and simply distracts from what they were trying to do with Julie. Jennifer Nocturne's relationship with Ben was probably the shortest on this list, and just like the title for this section suggests, this was nothing short of hot garbage. The entire thing started after Jennifer kissed Ben on live TV after he saved her from some goons, and after that, she becomes Ben's side lady, I guess, alongside Julie as she becomes the damsel in distress throughout the episode when Captain Stockholm Syndrome gets involved. She's probably the most conventionally attractive among Ben's roster of ladies, and she's also the shallowest. We see her again in Catch a Falling Star, which I've talked about before, as she becomes mentally ill and sympathizes with her abuser Nesmith. Ergo, her character does develop slightly thanks to that episode, but as far as Ben's relationship with her goes, it's pretty vapid and shallow. Why'd the Ben 10 crew made Ben marry her, I'll never understand. Kai is such a jerk to Ben through all of Omniverse, and I know the writers thought that's some kind of cute quirk or whatever, but it's really not. It's just obnoxious and makes me like Ester more. Throughout the entire franchise, Kai is severely downgraded. In the classic series, they at least had some actual chemistry, at least initially, but after Omniverse just goes to hell so quickly. She becomes so entitled and there were so many nicer options presented to Ben that never come to fruition, but ooh, fate is more important than an actual good relationship. Julie was Ben's longest relationship on screen and lost practically for the entirety of Alien Force and Ultimate Alien, only being shunned in Omniverse. The absolute disrespect shown to Julie in the way they metaphorically killed her off from the story is insane, because she was actually Ben's most consistent girlfriend, and to see her be broken up with over some dumb misunderstanding is just frustrating on another level. Even before that though, ever since duped at the start of Ultimate Alien, Julie was just a lot more stuck up about wanting her own life instead of living in Ben's shadow, and it's like, come on, your boyfriend is the most powerful dude in the universe. Maybe don't get your knickers in a knot if you can't always work on your schedule. Her entire characterization was flawed after Alien Force, and I wish she could have stayed that simple innocent girlfriend that we saw in Peer Pressure. Maybe it would have made her more boring and one note, but who cares? At least she wouldn't have sucked. Ben's sweetest girlfriend, for sure, is Eunice. Of course she's not even real and only shows up twice. She's just so nice to Ben and has surprisingly fast chemistry with Ben as soon as they meet. Ultimate Alien's whole chemistry story was hit or miss for sure, but they definitely hit it home with Eunice. Her powers are also really cool and she gets a really interesting backstory, being this alternate omnitrix that Azimuth created. It does make her more distant from Ben rather than feeling truly human, but in her short screen time, where she acts human only and we are unaware of her robotness, she definitely comes up as sweet and caring for Ben, in a way that no other girl in this list comes off as. You guys have probably heard me talk about Ester before, and I absolutely love her. She's so sweet and nice to Ben throughout Omniverse, and despite only getting 5 appearances, she's super nice to watch, and her chemistry with Ben is palpable through the screen. She would have been Ben's perfect girl if Kyle wasn't forced onto Ben with his fate BS. But either way, we all love Ester here, and I'm glad her character got a chance to shine in Omniverse. I talked about her as much as I could in other videos, so if you really want to hear more, be sure to give that a watch as well. And that was Ben 10's girlfriends ranked. Be sure to let me know who you think Ben's best ship was in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe and follow all the socials below. And with all that said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you beautiful ladies and jellyfish next time. Shalom!